as you know, we came to you in February of 2022 asking for approval to move forward with Framework 3.0. And since then, we've moved through the selection process, kickoffs over the summer. And we've done a lot of work between when we spoke to you last in May and today. In June, we took a tour of campus with our consultants, ASG, looked at all of the spaces around campus, especially those that were new to them, did a lot of listening, and we're here today to give you updates on all of that work to date as we move into scenario building, which is really the heart of Framework 3.0. That'll happen beginning in January. When we finalize scenario planning, we'll be talking to you at each of the next few board meetings and bringing back to you in May and then in August drafts of that final plan. So where have we been? If you've been on the board for a while, you'll know this. Those that are new to the board, this is our third edition of framework planning. Framework planning is really the planning that really integrates financial planning, physical planning, and the strategic plan of the university. So we consider it a very comprehensive plan for the physical development of campus. The first framework plan was in 2010. We are on a 5, 6, 7-year cycle, and really that's because of the amount of construction that we are doing to progress these plans, and we need to begin to look ahead about every 5 to 7 years. And so you'll see that rhythm in our last 3 plans, and here we are with Framework 3.0 today. Each of the previous framework plans had a series of principles to which we used to build scenarios. Framework 1.0 is on the left, 2.0 on the right on the screen, and today we have some draft principles, and we're hoping to finalize those soon so we can use those in our strategic scenario planning starting in January. And just to highlight that, a number of the projects Mark was just talking about are up on the screen in red, but these are the number of projects that we have implemented since 2017 in Framework 2.0. So you can see that it's time to begin thinking about the next tranche of projects and how we develop into the future. So not an insignificant body of work over the past 5 years. We've broken ourselves down into a number of important teams. Obviously, the leadership, both from the Board of Trustees and also the university senior leadership. And we have our consultant team on the far right and our core team that manages the day-to-day project. And then in the middle, you'll see the framework core team. This is where we bring all of the real knowledge around the university, both academic knowledge, research, and the operations of the university together to help shape this plan as we move forward. Lots of planning efforts have been completed since 2017. We are wrapping those in, and we are wrapping in the plans that are happening today simultaneous to this Framework 3.0. You'll see those on the right. So since we spoke to you last, we've done a lot of listening. It's really to wrap our arms around where we are with the culture and take the temperature of the campus as a whole. We've talked to more than 230 faculty and staff, more than 360 students, both virtual and surveys and live on-campus engagements, and more than 4,300 folks have participated in our online surveys to really understand what are the pressing needs for our community here on campus. And here's just a few things of what we've heard. You know, it's everything from bike lanes and how do I know how to use the bus system. I really like that idea. Obviously, parking is always on everyone's mind. But one of the big categories that really showed up over and over again was to feel part of a community. I think we know about that from the fact that mental health is such a big issue for us these days, but also as we come out of COVID, we know that that's a growing concern for folks. How do they reconnect? How do they feel connected to the community? How do they feel connected to Ohio State? And it's something that really is the first time we've heard it in such a strong voice in Framework 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. So it really struck us as being a clear need that we need to consider as part of the criteria to which we're planning our scenarios moving forward, and really digging into what that means. So since then, we've been doing lots and lots of data collection. Data is our friend. We like it. We're intrigued by it. Data has been a very big component of each framework plan, and this is no different. We use a lot of course data, parking data, faculty growth data, location data, and through GIS and a lot of other technologies, we're able to layer all this data together and try to understand what it means, how it interacts with one another. One of the data components that's new to Framework 3.0 is our Wi-Fi connection data. So we have been able to collect anytime a cell phone pings one of our Wi-Fi connection point, we've been able to collect that data. We did it over the course of 7 days, 24 hours a day. It's more than 28 million data points, and we're able to map it so that we can really understand how the campus kind of lives and breathes through the course of a week. And it's very telling. It's one thing to look at where students are supposed to be for class schedules. It's another thing to see where our faculty, staff, and students are day to day and how they're moving around campus. It's fascinating. And we're just beginning to kind of unleash the power of that data and understand how to really use it as we look at, we can layer on where are our amenities? Are they where the people are throughout the day, et cetera, and understand how we shape campus in that way. We're looking at our space, how it's organized and used. We're looking at what the quality of space is. There's definitely some beautiful buildings around campus, and there's also buildings we know have deferred maintenance, both from a physical point of view, but also from a utilization point of view and a functionality point of view. We're looking at our strategic growth. We know that there's areas of campus that strategically we're focused on right now, and how do we make sure those connect back into the broader campus community. We are working to understand the housing needs. These are on-campus housing availability, but we're also looking at the private housing that has been developed since Framework 2.0 off campus. Incredible number of new multifamily and student-focused housing around campus since 2017. Thousands of beds have been added that are student-focused or purpose-built, and even more multifamily in the surrounding communities, and how that relates to the market and our needs as a campus. Facility condition, this is both the infrastructure below ground and all of the vertical facilities above ground. We're looking at that, working with Mark and his team to layer that on. So we're making good decisions in the next 5 to 10 years of capital investments. And these last two are really the data points that we're beginning to layer on to understand this connectivity and sense of community. It's about the campus experience and the amenities and how people connect when they're not sitting in a classroom or sitting in their lab or office. And it's also about the public perception. And I love this picture because I hate this picture. But this is the off-ramp for Lane Avenue and 315. And it says, and actually this is a nice day. I'm not sure it always looks quite this good, but this is often the first image that people have of our campus as they get off the highway, and I think we can do better. And it's one of the areas that we're going to focus on. The same is true at Ackerman and to a lesser extent when you're entering the medical center. Luckily, you get a better view of the medical center when you're getting off the highway there. But in all cases, both on 315 and on 71, there's no real indication that you're entering campus from those entry points. We have lots of entry points on tertiary streets as well, and so we need to think about how we signal to folks that they're part of the campus and they're part of something special here. So where are we going? This is our first take on, this is a draft of the principles that we're pulling together for this framework 3.0. You can see that surrounding everything is a sense of wellness and sustainability. We know that's critical in today's society. We also hold these 4 major themes up, being stewardship of our facilities, connectivity, community, and experience being critical. And of course, at the core of all of these is academic and research excellence. So next steps, we're here today to share those draft criteria with you and principles. We're going to begin then working on our concept plans and scenario workshops later this year and into 2013. Scenario building is kind of the core, as I've said, of what we're trying to accomplish. There'll be a number of scenarios that come out. We'll be sharing those with you at the February meeting, our progress towards them at the February meeting and again in May. Those are scenarios, they change, they morph, we grow, we have good ideas after we've had other good ideas, and they change and grow over time. But it really is where all of this work of listening and analyzing data and talking to leadership, looking at our academic plan and where we're headed with our strategic plan, how that all starts to tie together with our financial plan in order to make it happen. We also have been working with Mr. Stockmeister, and he's going to be very engaged with us as we move forward as the point person from the Board of Trustees, helping us work through these scenarios and into the future. We appreciate his time.